All right. That was a special treat. Wasn't that stunning? Welcome on stage, Ted Sarandos, CEO of Netflix, and filmmaker, director, producer, screenwriter, and music director, Sanjay Leela Bhansali in the house. I can see we've started the morning in a fervor and a frenzy, thanks to the first look of your wonderful creation. Both of you are the creators, and I can see we've just about begun. Ted, welcome back to India.
Thrilled to be here today. It's amazing.
So what is the first thing you do whenever you have, whenever you come to India on a short visit?
Eat.
Eat. All right, he's a man after my heart. All right, let's get started. Indian storytelling is what this, morning and afternoon is about, and we're having quite the global moment at the moment with Indian creators and Indian storytellers being loved, discovered all across the world. So what is it that you define as great storytelling, Ted? I'd love to know that. And what is it that makes you sit up and say, this is it, this is what I'm betting on?
You know, it's funny, it's different for every kind of thing you watch, obviously, but for me, it is a lot of it's, do I care about these people? Am I interested in this world? Do I want to see what happens to them? And I think that's something you kind of establish early and figure out early when you're going to do a project. That's the first question I think you kind of have to answer, which I think Haramade obviously answers all those questions, yes, yes, and yes.
Ticks all the boxes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, Sanjay, I just want to ask you, Indian content is also, Indian storytelling is also on a precipice of sorts.
So are Indian clothes.
So are Indian clothes. To the manner born, absolutely. So what would be really interesting to know is how you decode and how you understand the audience's, tastes changing today. What do you think has changed about the Indian audiences and their preferences?
Okay, first I'll answer the question you haven't asked.
Which is?
Namaste, Ted.
Oh.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor and pleasure to sit with a person with such a vision and such a great producer and giving platform to such wonderful work that filmmakers create. So you are very, very important to the whole world of cinema right now. So thank you for being here. And,
Kind of you to say.
and all my beautiful people who have worked with me are here. I think they want to see me go through the grind. All that they go through, all that I make them go through every day, they want to see me trapped in this, trying to answer questions, difficult ones. And
But we gave him a day off, didn't we? Done, you're on, Sonakshi.
And then I have this wonderful Netflix team, Monica and Tanya here.
Woo! Let's hear it
All
from
helped us
Monica.
create. But the most important person in my life is my CEO, Prerna Singh. She's very special. She's like a pillar. So she's made this happen. She'll handle Monica and Netflix. They are monstrous. They are very difficult to handle.
Handled Monica.
So-
We will have a separate debate on that.
Yeah, so if you feel that, you've got a Netflix series and all, you have to be ready to go through the grind because they are very demanding and they are... So, but she has been very, very important. All my team that is here, Arvinder, Ashna, I need to mention all of them. Chetan, who's my very favorite, Utkarsh, Amit, all of them. My art directors, is great, Subroto and Amit, who've done great art and production design. So it's wonderful to be here with all of you all and celebrate this moment that is so, so very special because we worked hard, we've gone through the grind, we've sweated it out, we've all fought amongst ourselves, we've all sorts of things. So anyway, now that this answer is over.
Can I repeat the question?
Please.
No, what was the question?
No, I basically wanted to ask you how you decode the trends in audience tastes and perceptions. And do you think we have changed as an audience?
Any filmmaker who says he knows the audience is living in a fool's paradise. You never know the audience. They are everything to you. you are here because of the audience. अंग्रेजी में हिंदी में कहते हैं ना माँ बाप है audience. We can't translate that for you in English to say audience माँ बाप है कैसे बोलते?
Mother, father of people.
So the audience is everything to us, and to understand how they are changing, impossible. Millions of people who watch films, you can't. The filmmaker has to understand himself. He is the one who should be able to do work that the audience doesn't expect, that the audience doesn't feel that he's seen it before. They want something new. And then the filmmaker is the one who goes and changes the audience. I feel that's the way a filmmaker should believe in what he's doing, rather than worry about what they want this, then it's mathematics. Then you're setting up a project that I think the distributor will want this, the exhibition sector will want this, the studio will want this. How do you put all these thoughts together? You just make a film that comes to your heart. You instinctively go ahead and make it, whether people like it or not. You have to be fearless. And if it does well, you feel very happy. If it doesn't do well, you go into depression, which is good because you get up and then again rise and make another film. But never try and understand the audience. Yes, everything has changed. Post-COVID, everything has changed. I don't know what people want. They want a spectacular film for the theater. They want very, very unusual out-of-the-box content for the OTT platforms. So their demand is really, the demand of quality that they want from the filmmaker. The filmmaker is now on high alert and he's on guard because he has to now work very hard to give a new treatment, a new subject, nuances. He demands more of the actors. Everybody has to come together and make a project. You know, people told me, Gangubai, you should not make. Because it's a woman-centric film, it's a female protagonist. In India, they do not go to a female subject. The box office has always never worked. And everything and then she's playing a sex worker, and then there is no hero. All the tick marks that you would
Stacked
have
against
otherwise put to understand the audience that you're asking and to understand what the whole scenario is all about. Then I have ticked all the wrong boxes but it worked. That's the belief. That's what all the content that they're doing, The Crown and all those fabulous series that you make, they're all shockingly different. We've never seen something like this before. So the idea is the filmmaker has to believe, he has to cause the change, let the audience not change you.
Okay, so we put rightfully the horse before the cart and not the other way around.
Yeah, and I would say that concentration on the audience is why I love working with Sanjay. I think why his work is so amazing, because I think it is one of those things where it's easy to lose track of who you're doing this for and what you're doing it for, but you've always been very clear this is for the audience. Now, you may not understand exactly what they want, but what they want, I always feel like when people go into a movie, however they watch it, wherever they watch it, they want one of two things, either to escape or connect. And your work always beautifully does both, which I think is great.
I have a mini audience in my office.
Okay.
I'm not taking your name.
Just say it once because we have a code.
I have a small audience in my office who I keep showing my footage to and testing. How are they reacting? Different kinds of different age groups. So that is my test of also how the audience is going to react. At the end of it, you make a film or make a series only for it to be seen. That is your victory, and therefore you give your best to them. But do not calculate. Do not just give them what comes to your heart, and they will take it. So that is very important.
So then let me ask the calculative question to you, Ted, because I really do need answers here. So Netflix content has diversified across formats. We've seen you do series, we've seen you do films, unscripted, interactive, live, and now even gaming. So what I really need to understand is, how do you see your audience's appetite changing? And is this in response to that? And, especially when you keep in mind some of the innovative forms of storytelling that Netflix is placing its bets on, do you take into account the audience appetite, or do you also just create and...
No, it's all we think about. Our entire business is built on pleasing the audience. If they like what they watch more, and they don't go anywhere, and they tell their friends, and I think our opportunity, it feels like a responsibility as much as an opportunity to make audiences happy, trying to give them the things that they want. And the thing that they want is not always the same thing, depending on what mood they're in, depending on who's in the house, depending who they're watching with. And I think the thing that's evolved the most, and I don't know if it's necessarily COVID generated or whatever, but watching a movie at home is a different experience than seeing a movie in the theater. And understanding that, going into it and saying, what is the movie that I'm going to make for the audience who's in the state to watch at home right now? So, meaning they're a little more distracted, they're they're more likely to be in control of the situation than they are in the theater, where they're more willing to surrender. And that does affect how you tell a story. It does affect how movies evolve over time when they see movies like that. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just meeting the audience where they are is always the challenge of a filmmaker and a film distributor and a network to try to make people understand, content that's suited to the viewing experience.
Which is what makes you both such a potent combination, right? You're thinking about where the audience is going, and he's just thinking about what's coming out of his heart, and we have magic coming out of you guys.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
In many ways, it's true.
Yep.
And I think what you say about the projects that come out, we make in India. Last year we had 28 original projects in India, 100 so far since we've launched in India. And the diversity of the projects, I think, is what's been really thrilling. Last year we had this incredible success around the world with Gangubai, which is, I live in Los Angeles, and this is that time of year when people are talking about awards. And because people had seen Gangubai on Netflix in LA, when they saw the conversation coming around about it, they're like, oh, I saw that on Netflix, you won't believe it. You have to see it. And that whole ability to reach audience around the world is incredibly exciting. But it wasn't just that. We also had, Monaco, My Darling, and Darlings, Kake. Like, these projects really were enormous in India and traveled around the world, which is a really exciting time to be telling stories.
We were talking about placing bets on different forms of storytelling. It would be remiss for me not to ask you about the big bets that you always take in your storytelling. You create unique spaces, and I mean, your entire team is here. It would be silly of me to try and recreate that. But I want to know how it was for you to shift from the big screen to the digital space. I mean, did it influence your process in any way, or do you follow the same process for your films and your series? We should ask you.
I've made big films. I enjoy.
We noticed.